Hey everybody, this is Matt from Matt's Fantasy Book Reviews, and I'm here today to go over my to-be-read list for the month of June. Planning on reading 11 books. We'll see if I end up reading these 11. I usually, I'll probably read about 9 or 10 of these, and I'll end up getting excited about a book and moving one up and moving one down. But in general, I'm pretty good at sticking to my lists. So these are my lists, and I want to hear your thoughts about what I'm going to read. So the first book, I'm currently reading it. I enjoy it. Not in love with it, but I like it, is The Poppy War from R.F. Kuang. I'm going to finish this one on June 1st. And yeah, it's good so far, but, you know, and I'll definitely keep going in the series. But my interest in it is kind of waned as the book has gone along. I started out loving it, but I only like it now. So we'll see if it finishes out strong. Yeah, looking forward to reading more of that later on throughout this year. On June 2nd, I'm going to be finishing up the Murderbot Diaries Network Effect. This will be the 4th in the Murderbot Diaries. I think there's 6 that are out already, maybe 5. But I'm kind of grinding through these. I read my books really spaced out, so I've been reading the Murderbot over the past couple months. Another series that I like, don't love, but they're so short and kind of... It's almost like eating some ginger between sushi. It's kind of like a palate cleanser between giant epic fantasies. A fun robot story, that's, it's got enough levity to it that it's a nice palate cleanser. So I'm looking forward to the next Murderbot book. On June 8th, I am going to be reading The Sharded Few, is the series name, and The Umbral Storm is the book name. This is by Alec Hutson. This is a new book that I don't think it's even out yet, but he sent me a copy of it. I ended up writing to him, and he sent me a copy, which was super nice of him. And I've heard a lot of really good things about this book, and I'm super excited. You know, like every now and then, I read a book that I know that I'm going to love it. And for some reason, I just know that I'm going to absolutely love this book. I go into books generally knowing almost nothing about them. I go based on reviews, friend recommendations, but I want to go through blind and kind of feel it and let it hit me totally blind. And I've gone into it like that. I do know that it's got this progression fantasy aspects to it, but this grand epic scale, everything I've heard about it just sounds wonderful. Super glad that I got a copy of this, and I will be finishing that on June 8th. Then I'm going to be finishing up also on June 8th. I do audiobooks and physical books simultaneously, so you'll see some of these dates kind of coincide like that. But the Broken Earth series, the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. Everybody's read this book, I feel like. I don't know anything about it other than it's really hyped up. So really excited to finally get into this. It's been on my list of to be read for a very long time. So yeah, I wish I knew what it was about, but I will be reporting out on that on June 8th. So this date is going to be kind of messed up because I'm reading The Tales of Bauchelain and Korbal Broach. And I am reading, these are really short stories from the Malazan universe. They are hysterical little books. The first one I didn't love. I actually didn't like it. The second book was a 5 out of 5. And I'm going to they're so short that I'm going to do one big video review of it. After I finish up with all 6 of the mini books that I have. So I'm going to be reading these throughout the month, and I'll finish this probably in the middle of June. But yeah, I have been absolutely loving that second book. It might be the hardest I've ever laughed in a book. It is like Terry Pratchett style humor, but a dark, like, horror story, somehow blended together in a very awesome way. Speaking of Pratchett, on June 12th, I'm going to be finishing up Going Postal from the Discworld series. It's the first one that I've read of the Moist von Lipwig sub-series, so I love Discworld books. Very rarely do I give one a 5 out of 5, but they're all in that like 4 out of 5 range. Love them. Nice palate cleansers. I love comedy fantasy stories. I don't think there's enough of them. And, you know, I wish there was like an infinite amount of Discworld books so I could just pepper into my reading every month or so, because it's always fun to jump into the Discworld. So that'll be on June 12th. On June 15th, I'm going to be reading a new series called The Rose. I'm going to be reading Volume 1, plan on reading Volume 2 probably in July if I like it. This is by P.D. Alleva. This is a very small book in terms of how many people have reviewed it. It's like 100-something reviews and ratings. Got it. The author reached out to me, sent it to me. I have them in my hand. I normally am skeptical of when authors reach out to me to send me a book. I'm at the stage of my YouTube career that I'll pretty much read any book that gets sent to me. But if somebody reaches out that I won't show interest unless it looks interesting to me. But if they end up just randomly sending me to it, I'll read it. But it's got crazy high reviews on Goodreads. It's like a 4.55 out of Goodreads, which is, if you know anything about Goodreads, that is very high. Small sample size though, but oftentimes on these nobody books, that small sample size hurts it. It'll be in the 3s, which is usually pretty bad because people, mostly rate books 4 and above. But yeah, I'm not normally into the sci-fi horror realm, but this is when I read the description, it's like a sci-fi horror. The tagline for it was a masterful dystopian science fiction thriller of telepathic evil greys, mysterious rebellion, martial arts, and alien vampires. So it seems silly, but nonetheless, I am looking forward to reading it, and that'll be on June 15th. On June 19th, I will be finishing up The Blood Mirror from the Lightbringer series. That's a Brent Weeks book. That'll be the 4th in the Lightbringer series. Unfortunately, the 3rd book I thought was a major step down from the first 2. I'm going to power through this. I think I only have 2 books left. But I have heard that these last 2 books are not good. So I am very worried that I'm going to be in that majority of people that also thinks that. And if it's worse than the last book, then I am in for a rough time because I'm not going to have any desire to read that last book. I will. You'd have to really have a truly horrific book for me to read 4 out of 5 books and stop at the 5th one. So I'm probably going to end up reading that 5th book in the month of July. But The Blood Mirror will be June 19th. So on June 20th, I will be finishing up A Time of Courage in the Of Blood and Bone series by John Gwynne. I am currently reading the first in that series, and I like it a lot. I'm reading the second in the series right now. This will be the 3rd one, the last one. So the first one I gave a 4.5 stars. I'm going to be finishing up the second one tomorrow, but right now it's probably a 4.5. I like it a lot. It's not perfect. And I'm judging it based on the other series that he's wrote, and they are a small step behind for me. But 4 out of 5 is really good. So yeah, finishing up that series on June 20th and looking forward to it. But I'm sad that I'll be done with John Gwynne books. So I'll be all the way caught up with that author, and he's top 2 or 3 favorite authors of mine. Maybe even, no, not number 1. Steven Erikson's number 1, but he might be my 2nd favorite author right now. And I'm sad that I'll be caught up because I would love to have a ton of backlog books that I could read, but I don't. So, yep, June 20th. Then on June 27th, I will be finishing up King of Thorns in the Broken Empire series by Mark Lawrence. This is the 2nd in the Broken Empire series, the first being Prince of Thorns. I liked Prince of Thorns, gave it a 4 out of 5. Thought it had some faults, but I ended up... I really liked the ending of it, too. So I am excited to continue on the series. I've heard so many good things. I worry that the Goodreads ratings on this are kind of inflated really high because Mark Lawrence is super interactive on Goodreads. And people, I feel like when people can interact with their authors, they end up rating things higher. And he's very accessible. So, but I'm going to read it. And I've heard really good things about his other series as well. So hopefully I'll get to those later on in the year. And the last book I'm reading for the month will finish up on June 28th, and this is The Realm of the Elderlings Fool's Assassin. This is the first in the Fitz and the Fool subseries. This is the last subseries in the Realm of the Elderlings. I have now read, I think, 13 books. And I'm reading the last 3. So I have thoroughly enjoyed my journey with The Realm of the Elderlings. I am terribly sad that I am winding down, but also excited because I have heard very good things about this last series. I've heard that the series ends very in a good way. I don't know anything that it's about, though, but we've had so much build up to this moment that I am very excited about these character arcs coming to a close and finishing out that series. So those are my 11 books. Let me know, hit me up if you've read any of these, and let me know your thoughts. And thanks so much for watching, and you will hear more from me through the month of June as I review all of these books. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.